And away we go. Dan, Kyle, EJ. And guys, I like to live my life not trying to ever start a conversation with someone or bring negativity in because what good is that? So here's my positive for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They so far have made it to all their games on time.
Yeah. That's a plus.
See?
That's a plus. No question. No question. No late buses, no
Nope.
flight issues. And there have been flight issues, right?
So that's the last of the positives for the Toronto Maple Leafs
Okay.
as they
No, there's one more, Dan.
Oh, okay.
There's one more. They are currently leading the QEW standings. They are ahead of the Buffalo Sabres and only the Buffalo Sabres in their conference. That's great news.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another
Sabres
positive.
do have a game in hand, though. Let's
Oh.
give them their due.
Okay, where do we start with the Leafs? They lose another one. They've lost 5 in a row as they drop one to the Hawks on Saturday.
Yeah, it was obviously wasn't good. You had a lead. They've blown leads, I think, in 3 of those 5 games, maybe more. It might have been one more in there, but they had a lead in the game and allowed it to slip away and didn't really get much going at the end. So it just it's been that kind of start to the season, and got to find a way to turn it around quick because they are, as you guys point out, they are near the bottom of the standings in the Eastern Conference, only ahead of Buffalo. They're only 4 points out of the playoffs right now, but there are 6 teams between them and that spot. So they got some work to do. And also Nicholas Waugh was absent for practice on Monday. So that's maybe another concern. We'll have to wait and see.
EJ, before we move on, any word on why that might have been, or is that
No,
kind
I
of
haven't
breaking
seen it.
news?
I haven't seen any word on why. Just that he's absent from practice. So hopefully it's nothing significant. They play so many games right now. Guys get nicked up, as we know, and perhaps he just need a maintenance day. But was not at practice this morning.
I think every Leaf needs a maintenance day.
Yes. It's a little tune-up. Take him back to the shop.
Yeah.
No, EJ, I have to give you credit because in the preseason, I talked to you. You were on this show a lot. I talked to Pierre. He's on the show a lot. Pierre and I were quite bullish that this version of the Maple Leafs would do just fine. You were not, and you appeared to have been very much correct. Is this issue with this team, whatever it is, the multitude of them, is it correctable at this point?
Well, I just felt it was going to be a bumpy ride. I mean, the whole premise with this off season and with Marner leaving and adding some different pieces was that the Leafs would maybe not be as good in the regular season, but if they get to the playoffs, they'd be harder to play against. And I don't think that's necessarily not true, but they've had last year everything kind of went right. This year, right off the bat, Joseph Wall is not available. And it falls on Stolars, and Stolars isn't really playing well, and the team's not really defending well, and they had some other little bumps and bruises, and now Matthews is out. At least Wall is back now, but they've dug themselves a little bit of a hole. They had all these home games early in the year, so they're going to have to, in the rest of the season, the final 2/3 or so of the season, they're going to have to win games on the road, which they haven't been very good at so far. So. We'll see. But the problem with the whole thing, Kyle, is like I did think it would be a much more difficult regular season for them. And now I'm at the stage where, making the playoffs, it's great to be tough in the playoffs. You got to get there. I don't even know if they're going to get there right now.
Well, here's another bright spot. The Oilers started last season pretty poorly. After 19 games, they were 9-8-2. And look where they made it.
That's what they do, Dan. The Oilers always seem to start bad. The year before, they were even worse out of the gate, and they somehow found it. I mean, they've got McDavid, they've got Draisaitl. Those guys just find a way to get it moving in the right direction. But listen, it's all tight. This league is all bunched up. Teams go right now. The Leafs they had won 5 in a row. Now they're 0-4-1 in their last 5. That's the way this season is going to be for everyone. I think, with maybe the exception of the Avalanche. So, buckle up. It's going to be a long season. I think it's going to be 88 points maybe to make the playoffs in the East this year. So they're far from out of it. But, you just like to see things come together better. You'd like to see Woll and Stolars both be healthy at the same time and give them that solid goaltending that they had last year.
EJ, you talk to a lot of people in the hockey world. Yeah. Is it the consensus that the Leafs, the current version of the Leafs just doesn't fit the mold for how teams are being built now?
Well, the thing I wonder about was last year their best chance? Because when you look at their goaltend or you look at their defense, it's an older group.
Yep.
And, Tanev he's a fragile guy. I mean, he's had a lot of miles on him. He's been dinged up, and he's out of the mix. And, OEL is no kid either. That's an older group on defense. Part of the problem for the Leafs is, people will say, well, at the deadline, you can add. That's great. They can add at the deadline. What do they have to offer anybody? Are they going to trade Easton Cowan away now? They've already traded away, top picks. They traded away the kid Minton to Boston, who seems like he's been a nice fit for the Bruins in limited action so far this year. So, I don't know what they can do. When I look back at it, it might be, boy, the team last year maybe was their best chance to win, and they just ran into the Florida Panthers team that beat the daylights out of everybody. So I guess to answer your question, you start to wonder, are they past their expiration date with this group? Still have some really high end players, but they may have to try to figure out a way to kind of retool around them, and that's not easy to do.
Craig Berube says that the team is lacking in confidence right now, but they have stretches of playing pretty well in these games. They just can't put 60 minutes together with any sort of consistency. Is there any chance he's on the chopping block, or what can he do to turn this around?
Well, you can see he's getting more frustrated, and he's trying to manage his own emotions, I think, throughout this. And last year, he was the right guy in the right moment, and I think he handled everything really well, and the team really responded, and, they played well. Like I said, a lot of things went right last year. Every year is different. They obviously don't have Mitch Marner this year, so in those games, like the other night, maybe Marner in a regular season game helps provide an offense that gets you to a 4-2 win instead of a 3-2 loss or whatever the final ended up being in that game. So, those are the little things. I don't think that Brad Treliving is thinking about making a coaching change at this point. I mean, he's without Matthews as well right now, who's hurt. I just think they're nicked up around the edges. They don't play with really fast right now. They need to get better goaltending. There's just a lot of things that, like I said, last year they went right. This year they're not going right. And the question will be, can they get Matthews back? Can they get Stolar and Wall playing together? Can they get Tanev back playing well and for a long stretch and not having to worry about him being out of the lineup? And can they just play, to your point, Kyle, with more consistency in their game night to night? And right now that's been a challenge.
They can't make a coach. They've had 4 different coaches in the last 10 years. Like that's the one thing.
I don't think that's where they're going. I don't think that's where they're going.
By the way, EJ, did you get that sign behind you on the top of your bookshelf in Boston? All-Star!
No, I got it in
San Jose.
San Jose.
It's a Boston joke.
I stole it.
EJ, what's our update on Team Canada? The process for Team USA, for Team Canada. Where are we for the Olympics?
Well, I mean, these guys are meeting and talking every day, and both groups have a lot of tough decisions to make. I mean, for Team Canada, every day we're hearing about Celebrini and Bedard. I mean, for me, Celebrini would be on the team. Bedard is playing his way in with every single game he plays. He's played very, very well, but they have a lot of choices. So, that's going to be the problem for them. And then a goaltender, like, Dan, you have your pads? Are you available? I mean, to jump in if necessary. I mean, like, Logan Thompson has been statistically the best of the bunch. And then I think you have to start thinking about Scott Wedgwood after that, because nobody else has played that well. Wedgwood has played really, really well. I don't think they're going to go down that path. I guess they're committed to keeping Jordan Binnington because he played so well in the Four Nations and he's won a Stanley Cup in his career. But, I mean, he has been disastrous, and that situation in St. Louis has been bad. So, that's going to be the biggest issue for Canada, is just figuring out who they take in terms of their goaltending and then who they will start. It is a short tournament. Anybody who's been around a little bit long knows that, sometimes you start with Curtis Joseph and then you end up with Marty Brodeur. Sometimes you start with Marty Brodeur and you end up with Roberto Luongo. Like, things can change quickly. I don't know if Canada has a goaltender of the ilk of either of those guys, so that would be the area that everybody's going to talk about for them. And as for Team USA, Jack Hughes got hurt in this kind of crazy dinner situation where he fell and he's out 8 weeks. I don't think that takes him out of the Olympics. I don't necessarily know if he'd be on my list anyway, just because I think he's better as a center. And it seems like it's Eichel, Matthews, Larkin through the middle. Are they going to take Tom? Are they going to take Tage Thompson this time? Are they going to take Cole Caulfield? I would take both of them, but then who's off? So we'll see. But the process is ongoing for both teams, and we're coming down to the wire, boys, because these teams are going to have to make final decisions soon, and before you know it, we'll be in Italy with playing with a rink with no roof on it, maybe. Who knows?
EJ, I'd love to hear your thoughts on a team specifically like Canada with their embarrassment of riches. There's a lot of skaters to choose from. How do these teams now balance, and we've asked other guests this before, how do they now balance the youth movement with the veterans and put the right mix together that kind of brings a little bit of both in the correct balance?
Well, I mean, that's the challenge for, we had Doug, I've had talked to Doug Armstrong. I've known Doug Armstrong for like 30 years. So, I mean, like, he said it best. And, even last year, like, I thought they should have taken Tom Wilson. That became a whole bone of contention when there was that nasty dust up in the Saturday night game in Montreal. Are they tough enough, actually, which is usually not a case when you're talking about a Team Canada. But, they won. So at the end of the day, they made all the right decisions. And when you win, you don't get second guessed. When you don't win, you get second guessed. Like, Kyle Connor did not play in the gold medal game or the final game of the Four Nations. And, I talked to, different people who want to be critical of Team USA, and they'll say, yeah, why didn't he play in that game? Why was Kreider in and he not in? So, I mean, whenever, you don't make the right decisions, you're going to get second guessed. So, in this case, what's the right balance? That's a great question. I mean, these guys are going to talk about it. They're going to talk it. They're going to overthink it. And that's part of the problem sometimes is you overthink it. For me, it's pretty simple. Celebrini is someone that can play center, play the wing. He plays a complete game. I don't care how old he is. If he was 5 and he played like that, he's on the team. He's really, really good. Bedard this year is like last year. Celebrini was good, and he's just getting better. Bedard has made a real jump this year. So the question is, do they have a spot that makes sense to have Connor Bedard on the team? If this was Team Switzerland, no question, he's on the team. But it's not. It's Team Canada. I mean, remember, Wilson did not play last year for the Four Nations team. Mark Scheifele didn't play. Suzuki didn't play. I mean, these guys are all capable of being on that team. So what's the right balance? These guys are going to talk it out, and they're hoping that they don't overthink it. And then when they drop the puck and we play 6 or 7 or 8 games, which is what it comes down to in an Olympic tournament, they're hoping they're on the right side of it when it matters.
I haven't asked anyone this. So if you don't know the answer, that's fine. Getting back to the goalies, what happened to the French-Canadian pipeline of goalies? What happened? It's non-existent.
Yeah, that was a thing, right? I mean, that was a thing. We had we had Patrick Watt, and Marty Brodeur, and Marc-Andre Fleury, and there was a whole host of other guys in that slew of guys as well. You're right. Yeah, I mean, it's all cyclical. I mean, I've seen over the years there have been a run of really good Finnish goalies. There have been a run of really good. Now there seems to be a run of really good Russian-born goalies that we see in the National Hockey League. So I don't know what happened to them other than to say that it is cyclical. Maybe the coaches up there that were coaching at the time. I mean, you have the two brothers that were coaching in Francois and Allaire.
Allaire, yeah.
You're right. The Allaire brothers. They were coaching up there, and they were developing a lot of young goalies, and they've moved on to other things. So maybe it's as simple as that. I do think it is cyclical.
Well, what they move on to? Landscaping?
Well, they went on to coach. Like he's coaching for Benoit is coaching the Rangers.
Oh,
like he's been working with the Rangers, so he's not up there beating the bushes up in like northern Quebec looking for are you a young goaltender? Can we help you? So
listen. The Russians can't play in the Olympics right now. Can we not grant a couple of them citizenship between now and February?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at anything that gets tried. I mean, this could be a dire situation. I mean, like I said, Logan Thompson is clearly statistically the best of the bunch.
Sure. And
for some reason, they don't like him for Team Canada. I don't know if he had a thing with Pete DeBoer in Vegas or if there's some issue that has kept Logan Thompson kind of pushed back. Now, I think he has to be on the roster this year, whether he plays or not. I don't know, how that's going to play out. Like I say, this is a short tournament. They could start Binnington, and then if Binnington plays poorly, he will be out, and they will just put the next whoever. Like if it's Thompson, whoever they decide, it'll be in. I mean, Montembeault was in the mix for the Four Nations. He's been terrible so far this year. So, like, this is the problem. I think the biggest problem for Team Canada is thinking through what we want to do with our goaltending, and people will scoff when I bring up Scott Wedgwood because he's been a career backup. But the reality is Scott Wedgwood has played very, very well for the Avalanche this year. He's played very well behind a team that is a good team that plays a very fast brand of hockey, which is what you'll likely see at the Olympics. I'm not saying you're leaning on Scott Wedgwood to be your starter, but I think they have to consider him maybe as the third goalie because these other guys just have not played well.
You say tournament, like from someone from the eastern provinces of Canada.
Yeah,
I've noticed New York, New Jersey, you guys don't say like the hard tournament like we say. How do you say it?
Tournament.
Tournament. Yeah.
Tournament. Yeah, it's a tournament. It's a slugfest.
Yeah,
there's gonna be no roof. They have the building's not even finished.
Was that a joke? There is actually no roof?
I don't know if they're like the commissioner said the other day. Time is, he's like, clock is ticking, boys. Like, apparently they're behind in the schedule, which they always seem to be
every time.
Especially like in Italy. Whenever there's an event in Italy, it always seems like they're having a great time in Italy. I don't know why I'm not living there.
EJ, Russia was the same.
Are you not familiar with construction projects in Italy? This is how Italian construction projects
and
go.
there's also going to be something just before the Olympics. Make sure you bring cash. The ATMs are going to stop everything.
Right.
There's always a calamity.
It's calamity, disaster.
You know what's not a disaster? The Buffalo Bills. Bills fans are joyous after this past weekend.
Well, week to week.
While the Chiefs,
we
this was the litmus test for the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos beat the Broncos are for real.
For real. Well, I mean, we'll see about that. I mean, but
they're 9-2.
They are 9. Listen, so are the Patriots. The Patriots have literally, I think they have a game against the Pop Warner team in our area this week. They've won. But I have to say this about the Bills. I came on with you guys earlier. I looked at their schedule. I was like, this is one of the easiest schedules I could imagine.
Yep.
And yet here they are, the Bills, struggling through it. Like, yeah, it was a good win against Tampa. Please, someone explain to me how they get blown out by the Dolphins. But, that's just been what it's been that way for the Bills. Now, the good news is they're winning the games that at least they have to win. Looks like they're going to get in the playoffs. And, we'll see. They've been through this before. So maybe this is the year. It's kind of an up and down regular season and they find a way in the playoffs. Their nemesis, the Chiefs, might not even be there.
Yeah.
Because the Chiefs are, they're out of it right now. I believe they're 0-5 in one-score games this year. Last year they were 12-0, including the playoffs, and which is kind of crazy. But I get a sense the Chiefs are still going to make it, and we'll see. Everything goes through Josh Allen. I mean, the Bills gave up a lot of points again yesterday, but Josh Allen, what do you have? 3 touchdown passes, 3 running touchdowns, and the challenge will be when you play like you just talked about Denver. Denver's got a really good defense. Can Josh Allen work his magic against that good defense over 4 quarters? We'll see. If they when and if they play.
Last time Chiefs missed the playoffs, 2014.
Yeah.
Looking at the standings in the NFL right now, I feel as though I fell asleep for 3 seasons or something. I can't make hide nor hair. Who's good? Who's not good? The Chicago Bears are in first place in a division that was supposed to be one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense anymore, but I guess that's a good thing to see some change. I just don't want the Chiefs.
Well, that's what the NFL needs. They need new teams in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I don't listen, I watched the Eagles the last 2 weeks because I watched them against the Packers on Monday night, and then I watched them last night, and they're not giving up any points. I mean, they gave up 7 to the Packers and 9 to the Lions, so they're defending well. They're not scoring a ton of points either. I mean, I think they are beatable. I mean, when I look at the Rams, for example, the Eagles have played well against the Rams, though. They've beaten them, I think, 4 times going back throughout last year and this year, including the playoffs. So, maybe that's just a bad matchup for the Rams. But the Eagles look like, they're going to have something to say about this in the NFC for sure. I would say they're the favorite. It's going to go through Philadelphia, seemingly. In the AFC, who the heck knows? I mean, I don't really buy New England. I think they have a good team. I think they're going to get better over time. I like their coach. I like their quarterback. But they had the one win against Buffalo. Other than that, listen, they're beating the teams on their schedule, which the Bills could not do, apparently. But I don't know if when it comes playoff time, if they're kind of ready to take a step. But the AFC is a little bit stranger this year. And now the Ravens, after a dreadful start, are kind of finding ways to win
Yeah,
games.
you knew that would happen.
Yeah, I mean, then that division is crazy because the Steelers did win yesterday, but the Steelers aren't very impressive, and now Rodgers got hurt.
Yeah.
And here
oh,
come the
geez,
Ravens.
he has to fire up the ayahuasca hut.
Yeah. He's already in Costa Rica.
He's going into the wall of darkness for a few hours to think about it.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
EJ, thanks, buddy.
All right, guys. Have a good week.
Thanks, EJ.
We'll do our housekeeping. Some Jays notes, Kyle.
Yeah, it looks as though they're showing interest in one Kyle Tucker, who would be another big left-handed bat in the Blue Jays outfield.
The son of famous country music artist Tanya.
Is that true?
No.
Oh. Oh, wait, when she married Darcy Tucker and they just happen to have the same last name.
That's
right.
Say,
well, he's got sports written all over him and he can entertain in the dugout. Do they need his bat? Like, what would they have to, they're just going to sign him? Like, who would he replace? Like,
well, we discussed this before. The Jays have kind of not put themselves into a corner, but put themselves in a rare situation where they're like, yeah, do we need this guy? And is he going to affect the chemistry? Is he going to take away playing time from it? So they have to, they almost have to overthink signing guys now.
I think you're right, Dan. The problem he would solve wasn't really a problem much last year. I think they should be looking at arms personally.
Yeah, the bullpen, that's a different animal. Throw anyone out there. They'll fit in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can't disrupt the bench. They're not even allowed to sit in the regular bench. Go sit on the other side of the fence. I just, Tucker's had a great career and he puts up pretty good numbers. He was slightly off last year, but he plays in it. Chicago's a terrible place to hit. But I don't know if this solves a problem that exists. Is the money not better spent elsewhere?
Deeper. Making the team. You can never be too deep. But get all the arms you can. Just come into camp with 200 pitchers.
Edwin Diaz, that's another one that's being rumored. That would be a great guy to bring onto this roster. That would make the bullpen extremely impressive.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Jays talk this offseason. I can't wait. Just before we started here, EJ asked how we were feeling about the Jays loss, and we're like, you just had to bring that up, eh?
Can we just have a guest that doesn't do that? Like, that's really I like that they were all watching our post-game shows for the playoffs, but if we could just get one person on that doesn't immediately put us in that mood before we start taping, it would be just fantastic.
Yeah. But it's great that they know that everyone watches in Canada. Yeah. It's a collective effort. Okay, my friend, we'll see you back here Wednesday.
Oh, the Rough Riders won the Grey Cup, in case anyone was wondering.
We'll see you back here Wednesday.
Bye.